Good morning, everyone, and I want to just say thank you for joining us here this morning. I'm here to discuss our upcoming mission to India to strengthen trade opportunities and promote Saskatchewan food and energy exports, as we always do. The goal of this mission is to communicate to and engage with India to expand access to the Indian market for Saskatchewan producers of all products. With $18 billion in exports to India since 2007, this market very much is a crucial one for our province, and there are opportunities to grow this market for years into the future, further diversifying our trade away from the U.S. Trade relationships like this strengthen Saskatchewan's economic prosperity, which is why we continue to focus our efforts on that very market diversification. That has been the goal and the focus of this provincial government for in excess of a decade now and remains our goal into the future. And to advance this goal, international engagement has proven to be invaluable in the past to promote tariff-free trade and to secure economic opportunities. I'll also be joining our Prime Minister Carney, for a portion of this mission where we'll work together to enhance our economic partnership with India and to optimize any opportunities that may arise. We've been encouraged by the Prime Minister's commitment to negotiating the Canada-India Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, which has been at a standstill for far too long. And as I say, we're encouraged by the commitment of our Prime Minister to reopen and to breathe new life into those negotiations with the country of India. We look forward to continued collaboration with our federal counterparts to protect Saskatchewan's economy and to build on these vital relationships with countries around the world. Saskatchewan has an opportunity to remain a key partner in providing India's 1.4 billion people with food and energy security. And that is our aim on this mission, to advance that effort and that goal and the successes that may come. So with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
You came back from China with the deal. I'm curious about how you're going to mark this trip as a success and what you hope to come back with.
Well, I think we always look for, marks of success in any international engagement that we do. However, those marks of success aren't always there on completion of the mission. However, the cumulative effect of those missions is important in building the relationship between, in our case, Saskatchewan, being a province of Canada, and said country. And so I would say that the success that we had in the China mission of restoring or the restoration of tariff-free trade or low tariff trade on agricultural products, which was our focus on that mission, wasn't a result of just attending there in January. As you know, we were there a few months earlier with the Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister. As you know, we were the first province and Premier to be on the ground in 6 years in China in what was some fairly difficult and troubled times. When we were there in January, some of the ministers that were involved from the Chinese government side in removing those tariffs were the very individuals that we had met back in 2019 on a previous mission. And so I would say the cumulative relationship building, the effects and the opportunities that come from all of these missions is really what the success is about. And that success, I think, is in the statistics that our province has when it comes to trade diversification. We are the most diversified away from the U.S. or among the most of any province in Canada. We export to over 160 countries around the world. And I think when you look at a country like India with 1.4 billion people, there are opportunities for us to export additional dollars, even more than we did last year, which was $1.4 billion in exports to that market. Largely, I would say, just to get back to the success piece, uranium, potash, and agricultural products make up the bulk of our exports into India today. And so, advancing any trade volumes or opportunities or values in those spaces, I think would be a potential marker for success on this particular mission. That's what I will be looking for. In the case of, as you know, we have some agricultural tariffs on pulse crops, peas and lentils, as we speak. one of the challenges, and what I am hearing is that there's a potential for those to not be removed, but actually, in the case of lentils, to potentially be increased. And that is due to some local and domestic challenges that India is having with their agricultural prices. I would hope that we're able to have conversations that would exempt or not have that tariff increased on the products that we're currently exporting to India, so that we could, on future engagements, actually look at having those tariffs removed. But the hope, I think, today is to not have them increased. We'll be engaging on that topic. The hope would be, as the world looks to energy security, electricity security in the future, that would be part of any nuclear or uranium supply agreements in India. I know over a decade ago we had a nuclear cooperation agreement with India. There was very little, but I think opportunities for more uranium to be made available in an economic partnership with a country like India into the future. And so those are some opportunities, I think, that we could look for as to whether it's this mission or subsequent missions, to measure some degree of success. But again, it's the cumulative outcome of this engagement, not just with India, but with international markets, that will speak to the overall success of, the growth and diversification of the Saskatchewan economy.
I'm curious about you and Prime Minister Mark Carney, him tapping you on the shoulder to join you again, to join him again on the trade mission. I'm curious about why you think that is, that he's looking to you to join him on these junkets, on these trade missions.
I'm not sure I would refer to trade missions as junkets. If that's Post-Media's position on that, I'd be disappointed. Oh, sorry. So I'll leave that. I think it speaks to the recognition of the Prime Minister, and it'd be a good question for him, that Saskatchewan has been doing positive work in these markets. And it shows in our trade statistics. As I said, we're one of, if not the most diversified province when it comes to where we sell our goods around the world. And that hasn't come about easily. It's come about by a government that's open and supporting our industries in accessing those markets and standing alongside those industries in said markets around the world. And so there has been an effort, and an investment, I would say, in the international trade offices that we have. I think right now, today, we have a Minister of Advanced Education with our post-secondary institutes. It's in the Philippines. We have today, I believe he may have just returned, but our Minister of Trade and Export was most recently in Brazil, if I'm not mistaken. So we've been, whether it be on missions or engaging through our international trade offices, doing this for some period of time. And I think there's a recognition by the Prime Minister that we can be helpful in this space. And listen, politics aside, at the end of the day, we've had some challenges in those relationships over the course of the better part of the last decade under the previous Prime Minister that we had. We have a Prime Minister now that is focused on advancing those trade relations, whether it be on specific commodities like we saw in China, where we had the tariffs removed, or whether it be more broadly on signing a comprehensive economic trade agreement with India, of which those negotiations were happening a number of years ago and were put on pause due to deteriorated relationship between our previous Prime Minister and the country of India. So we're, I think, happy to see that we have a Prime Minister that is willing to look at the economic agreements that we have with these countries, and I think we have a role to play in supporting advancing those opportunities. We've been waiting some time to have somebody in the room that's willing to sign a trade agreement with countries like India.
So it sounds like you're not expecting a trade agreement when you go there with the Prime Minister.
A broad-based trade agreement, what I would hope is that we come away with ultimately commitments to reinvigorate the discussion around with India. As I said, those discussions were occurring a number of years ago. They were put on pause for a number of years. I'm thankful to see that that's even part of the discussion as we go there, and I'm hopeful that should we be able to get back to the table and start to work out the opportunities for that more broad-based trade agreement, that's a real positive for Saskatchewan and Canada. In the meantime, as I said, largely uranium, potash, and agricultural commodities like pulse crops make up the bulk of our exports, and we're going to engage on each of those files when we're there. And then we'll also be attending the Racina Conference, which is a global conference that is hosted in Delhi, I think every second year, if I'm not mistaken.
Just want to ask about the budget. How big of a deficit are we going to have in Saskatchewan?
Yeah, well, as I said, we're in a challenging time across Canada, and you're going to see that, I think, in the next couple of days with some additional provincial budgets being released. You've seen that already. I think there's been 2, if I'm not mistaken, released thus far. Over 13 billion in British Columbia, over $1 billion in Nova Scotia, which is a smaller population than that we have. But there are revenue challenges due to the trade uncertainty, market uncertainty around the world. In year, we experienced a year of pretty significant agricultural tariffs in our second largest market, being China, and that I think starts to show up definitely on the revenue line at the farm gate and at the provincial government level as well. What I would look for, and I would precurse this with that.
Well, they are having their fair share of problems today, aren't they? I guess that's the end. I don't know what more to say about that. Sorry. I think they're having some Bugs Bunnies. Let's just put it that way. Because, yeah. You just kind of got bumped out. I can't see where anything is, where they'd be coming back, because they are set up to go live in about 12 minutes from Nova Scotia. Anyway, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Leave your comments. They're definitely going to India to talk about, as the premier from Saskatchewan would say, to talk about their issues. And you could say, if you look at it, you got canola and all kinds of stuff. You could look at Saskatchewan and in that area as kind of a breadbasket, I guess you would, of Canadian agriculture. So they are definitely going to reinvigorate trade talk. So I don't know about free trade, but trade, broader trade. Anyway, have a nice afternoon. We'll be back. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.